Three new male accusers now say Sean Diddy Combs sexually assaulted them, according to civil lawsuits filed today in New York.
Being plied with a spiked alcoholic drink and then waking up to having Combs sexually assault them.
Hollywood's shiny facade is starting to crack. Ever since Diddy's arrest, the mix of fame and secrecy has taken a troubling turn. What were once quiet rumors have grown into loud accusations that could tear apart years of carefully built celebrity images. Music moguls, TV stars, and Hollywood legends are now being linked to a web of lies, betrayal, and possible crimes that go back many years. Will the most influential figures in entertainment finally face justice? Can the truth come out despite the silence and pressure to keep it hidden? Join us as we find out all that Diddy's last victim has revealed. P. Diddy's falling kingdom. More than 120 lawsuits have been filed against Sean P. Diddy Combs, each one more shocking than the last. But this isn't just about him. There's a bigger picture involving secrets, power, and possible cover-ups in the entertainment world. Artists, producers, and insiders who stayed quiet for years are now speaking out. People like Ali Carter and Cassie are coming forward, breaking their silence after being forced to stay quiet for so long. The sheer number of accusations points to something bigger than a few isolated incidents. On top of everything, there's an incredible amount of digital evidence, with reports saying it's about 90,000 terabytes of data. This could include things like conversations, videos, and other materials that might show the truth that has been kept hidden. If all of this information becomes known, it could cause serious damage to people's careers and completely change the way things are done in the industry. The impact could be huge, and it might even force people to rethink how things work behind the scenes. Big name celebrities like Ashton Kutcher, Demi, and Steve Harvey are now in the spotlight. People are hearing shocking rumors that they might even be thinking about leaving the country to avoid having to testify in an upcoming trial. It's hard to imagine why they would take such a big step. What could be so serious that they would consider running away from the situation instead of facing it? The idea of them leaving their home and everything they know to escape the trial raises a lot of questions. What could they be trying to hide, and why would they want to avoid facing the consequences? The connections are deep and tangled. Kutcher, famous for his role in that '70s show, has ties to several people involved in the case. His past relationships, including his marriage to Demi and his dealings with Diddy, reveal how connected Hollywood's inner circles really are. The most alarming part of all of this are the very serious accusations about inappropriate behavior at private parties. These accusations suggest there has been a long-standing culture of misconduct, something that has been covered up and protected for years. It's disturbing to think that such behavior could have gone on for so long without being stopped. Now, YouTube creators and investigators are stepping in to bring these stories to the surface. They are working hard to get the truth out and to make sure that people who have been silenced for years finally have a chance to speak up. These brave voices are calling for honesty and asking for people to face the truth. They are also speaking out against traditional media, which they say has been avoiding these difficult topics for too long. These efforts are all about getting justice and making sure that the real stories are told, no matter how uncomfortable they might be. The legal scene is changing fast. It's not just a couple of accusations anymore, it's a flood of lawsuits that could completely reshape how we view celebrity power and influence. As more details come out, one thing is clear. The silence is breaking and the truth is coming out. No matter how hard some might try to keep it hidden, the serious allegations against P. Diddy are shaking up Hollywood and raising a bigger question. What happens when family and fame get so deeply and messily connected? Let us find out. Steve Harvey's family in the spotlight. Hollywood is known for its glamorous image, but behind those bright lights there are often messy and complicated family connections. Lori Harvey's relationships with Sean Diddy Combs show how fame can blur the lines between someone's personal life and their professional world, creating controversy along the way. Lori, who is the stepdaughter of the famous comedian and TV host Steve Harvey, grabbed attention when it was revealed that she had been romantically involved with the Diddy. What made the situation even more surprising was the claim that she had previously dated one of Diddy's sons. This situation stirred up a lot of talk in Hollywood and led many to ask questions about power, control, and the complex relationships that exist in celebrity families. It's not just about who is dating who, but how these relationships are connected to fame, influence, and the tangled web of family dynamics in the spotlight. Steve Harvey has built a reputation as a strong advocate for family values, often giving advice on relationships and parenting. However, his connection to Diddy has cast doubt on this image. Allegations suggest Diddy not only dated Lori, but may have used her connections to to his advantage. Some reports claim her relationships were manipulated to help Diddy keep influence over Steve Harvey. This brings up an important question: where does a father's responsibility stop when fame is involved? Steve Harvey's image as a caring and protective dad seems to clash with the choices he is rumored to have made in private. Witnesses and leaked tapes suggest that Steve and Diddy had a long-standing connection, possibly involving favors and compromises to boost careers. One of the most shocking claims is that Diddy has had control over Steve Harvey for years. Reports say Diddy recorded embarrassing footage of Steve at one of his wild parties in the late 1990s. These tapes were allegedly used for blackmail, keeping Steve under Diddy's control for a long time. Blackmail in Hollywood is not a new story. It shows how power can pressure celebrities into making difficult decisions to protect their careers or reputations. For Steve, this may have meant ignoring situations that he would never have approved of in different circumstances. At the heart of all this is Lori Harvey, a young woman dealing with the tough reality of living in the public eye. Being the stepdaughter of a major Hollywood figure is already hard enough. On top of that, she faced criticism for dating someone nearly 30 years older, adding even more pressure. Many people have questioned whether Lori's choices were truly her own or influenced by powerful people around her. In a world where image is everything, personal choices can often take a backseat to public opinion. For Lori, this likely meant judgment from not just the public, but also those closest to her. In situations like the Harveys, the line between professional relationships and personal values becomes unclear, making decisions even more complicated. The involvement of powerful figures like Diddy only adds to the confusion, as their influence often goes beyond work and into personal lives. The public's interest in these stories isn't going away, but maybe they can lead to discussions about setting boundaries and building healthier relationships in the entertainment industry. After all, behind the glitz and glamour, Hollywood families are still families, dealing with their own struggles in a tough world. Can Hollywood figure out how to shield families from the harmful pressures of fame, or will the cycle of power, secrets, and control keep running their lives? Demi Moore's painful journey. The entertainment world has always been complicated, but few stories show its darker side like Demi Moore's difficult childhood. Her journey from a young, vulnerable girl to a Hollywood star was filled with pain, exploitation, and survival. Stories about her early life paint a sad picture of her vulnerability. Reports suggest that Demi's mother, dealing with her own problems, made choices that changed her daughter's life forever. One of the most shocking claims was that men were reportedly allowed to take advantage of Demi when she was young in exchange for just $500. This wasn't a one-time event, but it could be part of a bigger pattern of generational trauma. Demi's mother, who was dealing with her own problems, seemed to treat her daughter more like a tool to use rather than someone she needed to care for and protect. The emotional and mental pain from situations like this can run much deeper than any physical harm. It leaves lasting scars that can affect a person for a lifetime, shaping how they see themselves and how they relate to others. When these types of things happen over time, they can create a cycle that's hard to break, passed down through generations. A video from 1982 recently came to light, adding more depth to Demi Moore's story. The video showed a young Demi appearing to be drunk in an uncomfortable situation with a 15-year-old boy. At the time, she was married to Freddie Moore, which made the situation even more complicated. The entertainment industry seemed to have a pattern of ignoring inappropriate behavior. What many would see as traumatic experiences were often overlooked or even made to look glamorous in Hollywood. Young performers were regularly put in situations that would be considered wrong today. Demi's later relationships and career choices started to make more sense when viewed through the lens of her difficult childhood. It became clear that she was seeking approval, dealing with complicated power struggles, and possibly repeating unhealthy relationship patterns. Interviews and personal stories suggested that Demi never fully dealt with her childhood experiences. Instead, she seemed to survive in Hollywood by using coping strategies that sometimes put her in dangerous situations. The saddest part of her story was the possibility of a cycle of trauma. Despite being exploited and mistreated herself, there were claims that she may have been involved in similar situations with the younger performers. Hollywood's hidden rules created the perfect environment for these cycles of mistreatment. Young performers eager for acceptance and career chances were often left vulnerable to powerful people who could take advantage of their dreams. Experts in childhood trauma say that survivors often develop complex ways to cope. These can include trying to control relationships, accepting inappropriate behavior as normal, or unknowingly repeating harmful relationship patterns. Despite everything, Demi Moore became a successful actress working in an industry that may have caused her a lot of pain. As her story continued to unfold, one thing became clear. Healing from childhood trauma is a long and difficult journey. For people in the spotlight, it's even harder. Would Demi's story finally end the silence and give other survivors the strength to speak up? The world is watching, waiting, and listening. As the painful details of childhood trauma come out, a darker pattern appears, a web of harmful behavior that reaches Hollywood's most famous circles. How far did these dark connections really go? The Predator's playbook. Ashton Kutcher's journey in Hollywood started like many others, a young, charming actor gaining fame. But beneath the surface, a troubling story was developing that made people question how celebrities are protected and whether children are safe. The most shocking parts of the story focused on Kutcher's relationships during his time on That 70s Show. His friendship with Danny Masterson, who was later convicted of inappropriate behavior, raised serious concerns. Even more worrying were claims about a bet involving Mila Kunis, who was only 14 at the time. People who were there and others in the industry pointed out a pattern of behavior that should not have been accepted. What looked like harmless fun in Hollywood actually turned out to be disturbing actions that crossed into inappropriate treatment and could have been harmful to young people. At the 2003 MTV Awards, there was another shocking moment. Kutcher was said to have been caught on video inviting a 13-year-old Davy Chase to an after party, something that would be totally unacceptable when it comes to protecting children today. What made things even worse was Kutcher's public image as someone who cared deeply about child safety. He started an organization meant to protect children from trafficking, but at the same time, he faced accusations of actions that went against those very principles. Several sources said Kutcher may have purposely built this image as a child safety advocate to cover up his alleged inappropriate behavior. The entertainment industry's power struggles became more clear. Young actors like Mila Kunis shared how they felt vulnerable and scared in situations that should have been handled professionally. One story explained how Kutcher acted during their first on-screen kiss, showing the huge power difference between an adult actor and a teenage co-star. Rumors about similar behavior started popping up from other parts of Hollywood. It looked like this wasn't just a few isolated incidents, but a bigger problem about a culture where inappropriate actions were seen as normal, all under the cover of career opportunities. Kutcher's ties to powerful people like P. Diddy made people wonder how these behaviors could go on for so long without serious consequences. The anti-intimacy trafficking organization Kutcher created was now getting a lot of criticism. What seemed like a good cause now raised suspicions that it might have been used to hide darker activities. People started questioning how the organization worked and how it chose its members. Experts who study predatory behavior say one common trick is to create a public image of being supportive and caring. By presenting himself as a child protector, Kutcher may have gained a lot of trust and access. What was most disturbing was how these behaviors seemed to be part of a larger planned pattern. It wasn't about a few incidents, but about how people used Hollywood's power structure to their advantage. Interviews with former child actors revealed a culture of fear and silence. Speaking up could ruin a career, so bad behavior went unchecked for years. As more stories came out, a clear pattern started to show. Hollywood had created an environment where fame, money, and influence could keep victims quiet. Kutcher's story wasn't just about one person's scandal, it sparked a larger discussion about power, protection, and the hidden systems that let these behaviors continue. However, even more unsettling is how these stories and accusations have gone on for a long time with accountability. Could that be why no one is talking? Secrets, silence, and the truth breaking free. The entertainment industry is a complicated world where powerful people sometimes hide dark secrets. Recently, stories have come out with shocking claims about how some famous people may have used their power to harm others, especially young people. Now, brave individuals are speaking out about troubling experiences with well-known celebrities. These stories talk about scary situations where young people were reportedly taken to private places, given drinks that made them lose control and hurt in harmful ways. One troubling story is about a young person who was told they could become a star if they met someone privately. In that meeting, awful things were reportedly done to them without their permission. Another story is about a 15-year-old girl who was allegedly taken to a party made drunk without her consent and harmed by several people. These stories aren't just gossip, they are serious claims that point to a pattern of harmful behavior. Some survivors talk about waking up in unfamiliar places, feeling hurt and confused with no memory of what happened to them. What makes these stories even worse is how quiet everyone seems to be. People who know these celebrities seem scared to speak out. They fear losing their jobs or being cut off from their professional networks if they say anything. Some witnesses and survivors are speaking up, sharing their stories in different ways. YouTube creators, activists, and survivors are using their voices to tell what they have been through. They want to shed light on what they believe has been happening behind closed doors. The silence seems to be lifting. More people are starting to talk about these serious claims, and it looks like legal actions could be on the way. Some think that only through official investigations and legal steps will the full truth be revealed. One interesting thing that has come up is the number of cameras in certain places. Reports say that some areas had hundreds of cameras, which makes people wonder what might have been recorded and who might have known about it. Religious leaders are also being included in these discussions. Some religious communities are reportedly going through changes as more information comes out. People are now questioning the actions of leaders they once trusted fully. This situation highlights how important it is to listen to survivors and take their stories seriously. No matter how famous or powerful someone is, they should never be allowed to harm others, especially children and young people. For young people, it's important they know they always have the right to feel safe. If something doesn't feel right, talk to a trusted adult. Their safety and well-being matter more than any promise of fame or success. The message is clear. Silence can no longer protect people who may have done harmful things. The truth will come out, and more people are ready to listen and support survivors. As more stories come out, society is being forced to pay attention to how power works in entertainment, sports, and other industries. Change begins with listening, believing, and taking action to protect those who are most at risk. The path to justice might take time, but every voice that speaks up gives hope for a safer world where everyone is treated with respect and dignity. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, leave nice comments, and remember to subscribe for more interesting content. Check out another interesting video by clicking on the one appearing on your screen right now.